Jesus said July 15th.
This is teaching for women. So Scripture tells us not even the Son knows the day or hour of his return. But you say July 15th and put a date on it. The Bible speaks of many false prophets. Yeshua himself warns us there's going to be many messiahs that come after him, proclaiming to be him. He says in John chapter 5, verse 43, I came in my Father's name and you didn't receive me, but there's going to be one that comes in his own name that you will receive. 46,000 different denominations proclaiming the name Jesus Christ, a transliterated man-made name Rome created. For his Son came in his Father's name. Deuteronomy 18, what was prophesied of the Messiah to do was refresh the covenant at Horeb. Moses wrote that Jehovah would raise up a capital P prophet from amongst them of thy brethren, and he would give them what they desired at Horeb. Deuteronomy 4 through 6, the 10 Commandments. And whoever didn't listen to that prophet who I will send in my name, Jehovah said, he's going to require it of them. Jehovah's name. His English name is in Zechariah chapter 3, High Priest Joshua. And he warns you not to accept the one that comes in his own name, and you are shouting it to the rooftop. Yeshua's disciples asked him, what is the time of the end? And he says, do not be deceived. The whole world will be deceived except for the very elect. And Scripture tells us that Jehovah's people will know his name. Yeshua tells you in John chapter 5 to search the Scriptures, for in them you'll find your salvation. It's what was written of him. And he knows you don't have the love of God in you. 1 John chapter 5, for this is the love of God, to keep his commandments. Yeshua was prophesied to refresh the covenant at Horeb and in sacrificial law. The law added in Galatians 3:19 until it was finished, Deuteronomy 31. The handwritten ordinances that Moses wrote in a book, and refresh what his Father gave with his voice out of the cloud in the midst of the fire. The 10 Commandments, and he added no more, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 22. Yeshua gave us 2 commandments in Matthew 22, and like 2 John chapter 1 says, he didn't write a new commandment unto you, women, but one from the beginning, to love one another and keep the commandments. For this is the commandment that you have heard from the beginning. His first and great commandment, to love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. He quoted Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5, what was given at Horeb. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. Keep the commandments in your heart, teach them to your children. Verse 25, it will be your righteousness to keep all these commandments as Jehovah has commanded thee. His second commandment, to love your neighbor, like James chapter 2 verse 8 says, according to Scripture, the royal law. He quoted Leviticus chapter 19, 15 through 18, to love your neighbors, to do righteous judgments, judged by his first and great commandments, the 10 Commandments. Don't do any unrighteous judgment like Matthew 15 and Mark 7, where Yeshua rebuked the Pharisees for doing commandments of men over commandments of Jehovah, like Sunday God worship day, where they worship the sun god, with Constantine changed the holy Sabbath day to sun god day worship. Doing commandments of men over commandments of Jehovah. Keep the Sabbath day, for it was his fourth commandment, a perpetual covenant. Exodus 31, verse 16 through 18, his sign between him and his children that he blessed in Genesis chapter 2. And Hebrews 4 tells you the day didn't change. For if Yeshua had given them rest, for those that say, Jesus is my Sabbath, wouldn't he have spoken of another day? He never spoke of another day. Therefore, there remains a rest to Jehovah's people. And those that don't enter into it have unbelief. You need to take your video down. The sun doesn't know the day or hour, and neither do you. The land does have to be cleansed. Many will die because they don't have the love of God in them. For this is how we know him, when we keep his commandments. And those that say they know him and keep not his commandments are liars. And the truth, John 14, the spirit of truth is not in them, because the spirit of truth is only given to those who obey God. John 14, Acts 5:32. Deuteronomy 18, verse 19, and Acts chapter 3, verse 18 through 23. Whoever does not listen to that prophet and what Jehovah commands, because he spoke through him, he's not only going to require the people to keep those commandments, he's going to destroy those who don't keep them. We are to keep the two covenants of promise in Ephesians 2, so we can be grafted in. That is the Noah covenants that you speak of, which is eating clean, not just not flooding the earth again, but eating clean. Isaiah chapter 65 and 66. Those that have swine's flesh in their vessels, that say, don't stand by me, I'm holier than thou, are smoke under Jehovah's nose that burns all day. And they're going to be destroyed along with their pagan idolatry. Jeremiah 10, Christmas. Jeremiah 4, 7 and 44, Easter. Along with the mouse, the pagan idolatry, the sin unto death in 1 John chapter 5, end of chapter. Little children, keep yourself from idols. Revelations 22, verse 14, blessed are they who keep the commandments. They have right to the tree of life and are able to enter into the gates of the kingdom. Like Adam, lest he take from the tree of life, eats and live, the fruit of the righteous who keep the commandments become like a tree of life. Proverbs 11, verse 30. So you're grafted in to that vine, for Yeshua is the vine and we are the branches. Keep the 10 commandments, eat clean. He'll send you his spirit of truth that will teach you all things, so you can learn prophecy. So you can no longer be a deceiver, but actually understand and know the word.